Once there lived a goat along with her 7 kids near a forest. She loved her kids very much. One day, while the goat was going to collect food for her kids, she said to them,
"Kids, I'm going to the forest to bring food. You should not quarrel, and listen, do not open the door for anyone except me. The wolf always eyes you greedily."
She kissed her kids and said goodbye. The wolf was already waiting for the goat to depart. He was very fond of the lamb's flesh. He went to the hut of the goat and knocked at the door.
"Hello, kids. Here is your mother. Open the door. I have brought good food for you."
The kids were intelligent. They recognized the voice of the wolf and said,
"Oh, wicked wolf, do not try to fool us. Go away."
Then the wolf practiced speaking like the goat and came again. This time he spoke in a loud voice.
"Hello, kids. Open the door. It is your mother here. Be quick."
The kids were intelligent. They peeped through the magic glass of the door cautiously. Seeing the feet of the wolf, they said,
"No, we will not open the door. We have recognized you. Your feet are different from those of our mothers. The color of her feet is white."
Hearing the kids made the wolf go to a grocer's shop, and he asked him to cover his feet with white flour. The shopkeeper was surprised to hear the strange demand of the wolf, but out of fear he sprinkled some flour on his feet. Thus the feet of the wolf became white. He came back to the hut of the goat and knocked at the door.
"Hello, dear children. I have come. Open the door quickly."
The kids peeped through the magic glass and found the color of the feet white. They opened the door, but seeing the wolf made them run here and there to save their lives. Some went under the bed, while some hid behind the curtains. But the cunning wolf caught and ate up all of them except one who had hidden himself in the big clock of the house. The wolf just could not guess that hideout. After some time, when the goat returned to the hut, she was surprised to see the door wide open. She had thought that the kids would be very happy to eat the fresh food, but her happiness soon vanished. She found that the whole house had been ransacked and none of her kids could be seen. She wept and cried bitterly and said, "Oh, kids, what happened to you all? Why did you open the door for a stranger? The wolf has won the fight, and I have lost to him." At this moment, the kid who was inside the clock spoke.
"Mother, are you listening to me? The youngest of all, take me out of the clock."
The goat immediately picked up her little kid and kissed her again and again. The kid told her of the whole incident. Then they heard the snoring of the wolf. The goat said, "It appears that the wolf is still here. Bring the long scissors." The kid brought the scissors. They both went to the garden. They found the wolf sleeping there. The goat went up to the wolf slowly and cut open his belly. She found the kids alive and took them out one by one from the wolf's belly. The goat hugged the kids warmly. Then she asked all the kids to put stones in the wolf's belly. They all picked up big stones and put them in the wolf's stomach. Then the goat stitched up the belly, and they all came back to their hut. Soon the wolf awoke and felt thirsty. He got up and went to the well to drink water. As there were stones in his belly, he couldn't balance himself and fell into the well with a loud noise. He died by drowning in the deep water. The goat and her kids were observing everything from the window. Now they all came out of the hut and danced. They needn't be afraid of the wolf anymore. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl who had a pretty red cape with a bright red hood. She always wore her red hooded cape, and that's why she was called Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother packed a basket with cakes and fruit. She said to Little Red Riding Hood,
"This is a gift for you to take to your grandmother. She's not well and will enjoy some nice cake and fruit."
So, Little Red Riding Hood tied on her red cape and hood and set out for her grandmother's house. As she was going through the woods, she met a big wolf. The wolf spoke to her in a gruff voice.
Good morning, little girl,
He said.
Where are you going with that nice basket of cake and fruits?
"I am going to visit my grandmother,"
Little Red Riding Hood said.
"She lives in the cottage at the other end of the woods."
Well,
Said the wolf politely.
I'm going to visit your grandmother too. But I shall take the path across the meadow. I have business to attend to there. I'll see you at your grandmother's.
The crafty old wolf knew where grandmother lived. He also knew that the path across the meadow was the shortest way to reach grandmother's house. Little Red Riding Hood stopped along the way to pick the bright flowers and to watch the butterflies flitting among the trees. So the wicked wolf was at grandmother's house long before Little Red Riding Hood got there. He crept up to the house very quietly. He peeked in the window. He saw grandmother sitting in her rocking chair, knitting a sweater for Little Red Riding Hood. But grandmother saw the wolf too. She jumped out of the chair. She slipped into the closet and locked the door behind her. She did it so quickly that the wolf didn't know what was happening. The big bad wolf was very angry. He came into the house. He rattled the closet door. Then the wolf spied grandmother's nightcap and her shawl hanging on a peg.
Aha!
Cried the wolf.
I'll put on grandmother's nightcap and shawl and get into bed. Little Red Riding Hood will think that I'm her grandmother.
Very soon, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door.
Who's there?
Said the wolf, pretending to be grandmother.
"It is I, grandmother,"
Said Little Red Riding Hood.
Come in, my dear.
Said the wolf in his gentle voice. He drew the covers up around his chin.
"Oh, grandmother,"
Declared Little Red Riding Hood, standing near the bed.
"what big, bright eyes you have."
The better to see you with, my dear,"
said the wolf softly. Little Red Riding Hood came closer. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have!"
"The better to hear you with, my dear,"
said the wolf, still more softly. Then Little Red Riding Hood saw the wolf's cruel, sharp teeth. "Oh, grandmother, what big teeth you have," she whispered.
"The better to eat you with, my dear,"
cried the wolf. He pushed back the covers and jumped out of the bed. Then Little Red Riding Hood saw that it was the big wolf pretending to be her grandmother. At that moment, a hunter passed by the house. He heard the wolf's wicked voice and Little Red Riding Hood's frightened scream. He burst open the door. Before the wolf could reach Little Red Riding Hood, the hunter lifted his gun to his shoulder and killed the wicked wolf. Little Red Riding Hood was very happy, and she thanked the kind hunter. Grandmother unlocked the door and came out of the closet where she had been hiding. She kissed Little Red Riding Hood again and again, and she thanked the hunter for saving them both from the big bad wolf. They were all so happy that they decided to have a party right then and there. Grandmother gave the hunter and Little Red Riding Hood a big glass of fresh milk and took one herself. They ate up all the cake and fruit that Little Red Riding Hood had brought to her grandmother. And they all lived happily ever after. Once there were 3 little pigs who went out into the world to seek their fortunes. Each little pig took a different road. Soon, the first little pig met a man with a load of straw.
"Please, may I have some straw to build a house?"
asked the little pig, and the man gave him some straw. The first little pig had just finished his house when a big, bad wolf came along.
Little pig, let me come in,"
said the wolf.
No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin,"
said the little pig.
"Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in,"
cried the wolf. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. The second little pig met a man with a bundle of twigs.
"Please, may I have some twigs to build a house?"
asked the little pig, and the man gave him some twigs. But no sooner had the second little pig finished his house than the big, bad wolf came to call.
Little pig, let me come in,"
said the wolf.
No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin,"
said the little pig.
"Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in,"
cried the wolf. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. Now, the third little pig met a man with a wheelbarrow full of bricks.
"Please, may I have some bricks to build a house?"
asked the little pig, and the man gave him some bricks. But no sooner had the third little pig finished his house than the big, bad wolf came along.
Little pig. Little pig. Let me come in.
He cried.
No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin,
Said the little pig.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.
Cried the wolf. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed. And then he huffed, and he puffed some more. But he could not blow the house in. The wolf was very angry and thought to himself,
I must catch that little pig.
so he said,
There are some nice fat turnips in Farmer Brown's field. Will you go with me to get some at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, little pig?
yes, I will.
said the little pig. But he got up at 5 o'clock and was home cooking his turnips when the wolf came to call for him. The big bad wolf was very, very angry. But he thought of another way to catch the little pig.
I know where there's a fine red apple tree. Will you go with me at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to pick some apples?
Yes, I will.
said the little pig. But the little pig went for the apples at 4 o'clock. He had not started early enough, however, and he was still up in the tree when the wolf came along.
Are the apples sweet?
Asked the wolf.
Yes,
Said the little pig.
I will throw you one.
So he threw an apple as far as he could, and while the wolf went to get it, the little pig climbed down the tree and ran home. Early the next morning, the wolf hurried to the little pig's house. He had to catch that pig. So he climbed up on the roof and slid down the chimney. But the little pig had seen him coming and took the lid off a large kettle of water which was on the fire. There was a great big splash! And that was the end of the big bad wolf.
Do you wish to see load of stories here? Then please subscribe this channel. Along with your friends and family, enjoy all the videos of MagicBox. MagicBox English, a place to learn lot of good things with happiness. Don't forget to subscribe.